Hey guys, it's 𝗏𝗏𝗃 and today I am going to be ranking / rating every Animal Jam Superbox. So the brand new glitter Superbox just dropped a couple of days ago and I had the idea to just rate all of the Superboxes that we've gotten up to now. Starting off with the oldest Superbox, we have the Golden Superbox. This was the first ever Superbox to be released. It came out June 1st of 2022, which is almost 3 years ago now, and that is just so wild to think about. This Superbox came with 3 golden pet tokens and then the entire golden phantom set. And even though I'm not too big of a fan on the phantom outfit itself, this concept seemed really cool when it first came out. And because it was one of the first couple in-app purchases aside from buying sapphires and other currencies, I found it to be pretty cool and interesting, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Now moving on to the next Superbox, we have the Toadstool Superbox. This one I actually did enjoy. I really liked the outfit that it came with. I think this was one of the first couple of times that we've seen animated wallpapers and floorings, so that I also found to be really interesting. And if I remember correctly, I did end up buying this bundle, but it was the smaller, cheaper bundle because I didn't want to spend like $10. If I'm being honest, everything that came in this bundle I did like. I really didn't have anything against it, so I think I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. The next Superbox is the 𝗂𝘁𝗁𝗏 Superbox, and this was for those funky looking dinosaurs with the really long cranium. I've never really been too big of a fan on any of the eggs that you can get in Animal Jam. The dinosaurs are kind of cool, but the fact that you can't change their colors at all just makes them kind of in my opinion. I never ended up buying the Superbox, so I think I'll just give it a 4 out of 10. Now moving on to the next Superbox, which I did end up liking a lot. We have the Fab5 token Superbox. This was the first of 2 Superboxes. They did this twice because I think they did so good. And this was the Superbox where you could get tokens to get animals that we hadn't seen in a while. You could get a coyote, koala, raccoon, otter, or a sheep. I think I got the otter, the sheep, and the koala. I have all of these animals now, but I think those were the 3 specifically that I got. We ended up getting the rainbow raccoons and the autumn coyotes, so I don't think those were on my radar. I really like this idea for a Superbox since we can't trade animals, and this was a really good way to get the older pets, so I think I'm gonna give this box a 9 out of 10. I really like this one. Now moving on to the start of the very sad downfall, in my opinion, to these Superboxes. We have the Galaxy Superbox. Now this was the first of what would become many Superboxes of just recolored items, I guess you could say. I don't necessarily have anything against the recolored pets using these tokens, but just it got so repetitive after a while, I was just sick of it. I did find it pretty cool because this was one of the first boxes to include a clothing potion that would change the appearance of clothes. I'm not sure if I ended up buying this Superbox either, but the idea was there and I did find it cool for its time, so I'm also going to give this one an 8 out of 10. So the next Superbox was the Fab5 Den token Superbox. I really just like the Fab5 tokens that came out of the Superboxes because in this specific Superbox, the dens that you could get were the Treehouse, Moonlight Manor, Beach House, Alpine Lodge, and the Pegasus Palace. And I ended up getting my dream den, which was the beach house, and I was absolutely over the moon ecstatic. This one is similar to the Fab5 den token, so I don't necessarily have anything new or unique to say about it, but I do like it. I do think I ended up buying this Superbox as well. I made so many in-app purchases, but I think I'm gonna give this token a 8 out of 10. So the Sapphire Superbox was basically the same as the Galaxy Superbox, just without an egg. All of these Superboxes just got to a point where they just blurred together for me and I couldn't tell them apart. Things that could come in this Superbox in particular were the Sapphire Arm Cuffs, Sapphire Clothing Potion, Sapphire Pet Token, Sapphire 3-horn Tail, and the Sapphire Ram Horns, which the clothing items that they decided to include in this were kind of mid. I'm not too big of a fan on the patterns for this Superbox. It's not ugly, but it's also not my thing in like the slightest. All of these super boxes have killed whatever sad system Animal Jam Play Wild had for worth also. Every single time a super box comes out, it is just hectic on Animal Jam. So I think I'm gonna give this super box a 6 out of 10. Now moving on to what I would consider one of my favorite super boxes, we have the Super Party Super Box, also known as the Club Geo's super box. Depending on which super box you ended up getting, the big or the small one, this super box came with a Super Party Sapphire potion, a Super Party Favor potion, and then in the bigger ones, it came with a disco ball and these really nice dance floors, which I still use. This was the super box that I feel like absolutely dismantled any sort of worth system that Animal Jam had, just because of those Super Party Favor potions, because the things that they recolored, the rares that they recolored, it destroyed people. But I especially like this super box, not because of the potions, but because of the dance floor and the disco ball. They are just such an amazing touch to the dens that I make. I have to give this super box a 9 out of 10 just because I loved it so much. I really like this super box. The next super box was the Glacier super box, and I don't necessarily have anything to say about this super box. It was a super box, that's about it. There wasn't necessarily anything super about it. I liked the transparent look that items had to them, even though I was kind of sick of super boxes by this time. So I guess I'll give this one a 6.5 out of 10 or a 7. So this next super box was kind of a repeat of the two other super boxes that had separate Fab5 tokens in them. This super box came with both the Fab5 animal token and the Fab5 den token. In terms of animal options, you could get the skunk, gorilla, flamingo, red panda, or seal. And then for dens, you could get the Outback Hideaway, Water Park, Riverside Cavern, Vintage Estate, or Cliffside Village. Now this super box, this is when I just stopped buying them. I spent too much money on this game, even though I really do like the concept for these Fab5 tokens. At this point, I was kind of just over it because I was just salty that number one, I didn't have money to buy it, and number two, by this time I understood that if Animal Jam included something in the premium shop, more often than not, it wouldn't be coming anytime soon in Sapphires, so I kind of just gave up. The flamingo was my dream animal, but everybody would overprice the tokens in Sapphires, so I gave up. In general, this entire super box wasn't too impressive to me, so I think I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Now moving on to the next super box, we have the Gummy super box. Now if I'm being completely honest, I have no memory of this super box being released at all, which is kind of scary to think about, but similar to the Glacier super box, I do like the effect that this super box gives off, and I also did end up buying some of the beanbags that came in the bundle recently just because I really do like the effect. It's similar to most of the other recolor, repattern super boxes, so there's nothing necessarily new about it besides that it's gummy. I don't have much to say about it, so I guess I'll just give it a 5 out of 10. Now moving on to another one of the chaotic super boxes that came out. This is what I would call the super duper party super box, because this was basically just a buffed up version of the super party super box, because it came with the same party favor potions and the special sapphire potions, but it also came with a new potion which gives people the ability to expand their dens, which I do find really helpful and really cool in terms of a new item concept, because I know people like hosting events and drops, but then people get upset when other people can't join them in them because the den is full. So I really do like the concept. But around the time that this super box was released, people started doing those really weird like pay to enter drops. It was just kind of weird where people would be like, oh, you can't join this drop, you have to pay to get in. I mean, I do like the den potion idea, so I guess I'll give this super box a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to the most recently released super box, we have the Glitter super box. This is the first time in a while that I've been kind of impressed with a super box. I do not plan on buying it whatsoever, but I do really like the effect that this super box gives off, and I like the fact that it comes with an animal potion, a pet token, and a clothing potion, which like that's a decent amount of customization for one super box, which I feel like we haven't necessarily seen. 10. The only thing I think I'm gonna try and get out of this super box is a glitter animal potion, because the glitter effect that this super box gives off is very nice to me. It reminds me of the glitter horns, which I was so infatuated with when I was a new jammer, and I already have a glitter lynx, so like I need to match with my pet. Overall, I do like this super box. I don't know if you'd call it getting a bang for your buck, but I don't really have anything too big to say on it, and I really do like seeing people with the glitter effect around in Jamaa, so I guess I'll give this one a 9 out of 10. I can't give any of them a 10 out of 10, but I do like pretty colors and effects. There's just something about in-app purchases for games. It's such a slippery slope. I did enjoy doing this just because I got to speak my opinion on super boxes, because I know a lot of people are not a fan of them, but like some of them I don't have too much of an issue with. I think that's just because I didn't say anything about the prices. Yikes. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing, as it's a way to support me, or consider joining my pack. It is called 𝗁𝗏, and you're free to join and leave whenever. So comment down below if I should do this again, but with all the premium shop items. I really do like rating things.